Vaishnava Advaita Krishna Bhavana Vishnu Bhakti Namaste Saraswati Here is God, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paripurvakacharya Stotra Satyasri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paripurvakacharya Stotra Satyasri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, it is a great honor and pleasure and privilege for me to be with all of you on this auspicious occasion of Sri Guru Purnima, which is also the disappearance day of Srila Sanatana Goswami and also the disappearance day of His Holiness Bhakti True Swami Maharaj. And on the occasion, I will speak more about His Holiness Bhakti True Swami Maharaj. One of Sripad Bhakti True Swami Maharaj's most prominent qualities was his deep love for Srila Prabhupada. Very soon after Maharaj met Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada included him in his personal staff and made him his secretary for Bengali and Hindi correspondence. Soon thereafter, Srila Prabhupada gave him first and second initiation and then sannyas. And Maharaj personally served Srila Prabhupada throughout Prabhupada's last days. His Holiness Bhakti True Swami was also very devoted to ISKCON. He always considered ISKCON to be a unique creation of Srila Prabhupada and always wanted to serve ISKCON, both the devotees in ISKCON and ISKCON as an entity, a manifestation of Srila Prabhupada. He was really in the mood of service to the devotees, especially the devotees of ISKCON, and to ISKCON itself. Maharaj was a very pure-hearted, loving person. His love for Srila Prabhupada was seen in his love for the devotees and for people in general, whom he wanted to bring to Srila Prabhupada, and in how he encouraged devotees to increase their engagement, take on more responsibility, and become more loving, humble servants. The more responsibility one accepts, Maharaj once explained to a devotee in Mauritius, the bigger servant of the devotees one becomes. This reminded me of something Srila Prabhupada once said. When a disciple came into his room in Mayapur one day and began to complain about the management, Srila Prabhupada said, if you think you can do better, why don't you? Somehow, the disciple came out and announced that Srila Prabhupada had made him the temple commander, and he began to boss the other devotees around. Some devotees complained to Srila Prabhupada that the devotee had said that Prabhupada had made him the temple commander and that now he was barking orders at everyone. So Srila Prabhupada called for the devotee and instructed him, first you become the servant of everyone, then you become the temple commander. Thus Srila Prabhupada expressed the same idea, that a bigger position means becoming a bigger servant. And His Holiness Bhakti True Swami Maharaj in Parampara had that same understanding. If we listen carefully to all of Maharaj's instructions, we can understand how closely he followed the disciplic succession. Some of his statements were very close to Srila Prabhupada's words, and some took the basic principles that Srila Prabhupada gave and sweetened them with personal realization. Another of the many fine qualities exemplified by His Holiness Bhakti True Swami was his offenselessness. He was very careful not to commit any offense against any devotee or any living entity. And if he felt he had committed an offense, he would immediately try to mitigate the effects by approaching the person, apologizing, and asking forgiveness. Somehow or other, he tried to rectify the offense. From our point of view, we wouldn't think that he had committed an offense. But within his pure heart, he may have felt that he had. And immediately, he would try to approach and please the person he feared he had offended to remove the effects of the offense. Maharaj was very pure and very sensitive, full of appreciation for other devotees and sensitive to his own faults, which again, from our point of view, wouldn't even be considered faults. That's really the heart of a Vaishnava, full of love and appreciation for others, but sensitive to one's own deficiencies or mistakes. I think of a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, 12, 13, and 14, where Lord Krishna states, quote, "One who is not envious," and I quote this, obviously, because it describes His Holiness Bhakti True Swami Maharaj so beautifully. Quote, "One who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear for me." Of course, we wish that His Holiness Bhakti True Swami Maharaj could be with us in person still. But as Maharaj always reminded us, we have the wonderful association of the devotees in ISKCON. And through their association, we can experience Srila Prabhupada's presence. And along with Srila Prabhupada's presence, the presence of Srila Prabhupada's dear and beloved associates, such as His Holiness Bhakti True Swami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti True Swami Maharaj Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, my dear devotees, thank you for listening so patiently and attentively. And now, if any of you have any questions or any comments, any reflections you would like to share, any of your own personal realizations, appreciation and affection for Srila Bhakti True Swami Maharaj, you can raise your hand, your physical hand or your virtual hand. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, can I speak?
Please do. Please do.
Okay, no, because it was something very interesting that I heard some time back. that about Guru Maharaj passing away on the Guru Purnima day and on the day of the appearance of Sanatana Goswami. It's not a coincidence. It is something divine, in the sense that Sanatana Goswami actually was an aristocrat. He was coming from a very wealthy family. And so same Guru Maharaj also was an aristocratic person. He was also coming from a wealthy family. And it happened that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami to give up everything and become a devotee, a monk. And he did so in a single day. The same thing happened with our Guru Maharaj, where his Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada asked him to dedicate this one life of his to Krishna consciousness, no? And he did so in the same meeting. He said, I agree to it. I mean, there were
Yes.
so many coincidences, no, happening. And you could see, like, so for us, like, it one way, if Sanatana Goswami was in the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the soldier of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the commander, you can say. So in our times, in Prabhupada's time, you can say our Guru Maharaj was like Sanatana Goswami, also a commander in this moment of ISKCON. So it's something like,
Yeah. Wonderful. Beautiful.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Very special.
I mean, in many ways, also Guru Maharaj, when he would like even walk and talk, and even his eating was something like you could see a aristocratic style he had, right? I mean, we don't find like how many leaders we find is gone who are, let's say, producers of movies. I mean, he produced a movie completely on Prabhupada, no?
Yeah.
Full dedication. There are so many pictures of his where he was filming himself. He was behind the camera himself
Yeah.
filming. I mean, such a dedication he had. He
Yeah.
became even a builder. He built temples, he built the guest houses, he built so many places, no? So, and he would go and buy the materials. I remember the time when he needed some materials to buy for the guest house that he was making in Ujjain. And he approached me and he said, do you have any contacts in China? I mean, because I was dealing in Chinese products. So he said, do you have any contacts with China? And I said, yeah, I have. I mean, I have my brother-in-law who's my agent. He can say he does all the transactions for me. And he just asked me the detail. I said, maybe he just discussing, just asked me for the sake of asking. He won't do anything. And next I hear in a 10 days time, my brother-in-law calling me from China saying, hey, look, your guru is something over here and he asking me to help. You didn't tell me anything about him. I said, well, I didn't expect him to go. And he mercifully he stayed in his house. He honored his prasad from his house, and my brother-in-law would take him to those factories, and he managed to buy all the cheap, let's say, good material, but in the cheaper prices because he was buying directly from China. So he got. I said, "Wow, such a, I mean, dynamic guru we have." No, I mean, he's everywhere. No.
Yeah. Amazing. Fantastic. Fabulous. I didn't know about that, but it really bears testimony to his,
Yes.
first and foremost, his devotion to Srila Prabhupada and Krishna consciousness and his resourcefulness, his energy, his determination. That's a wonderful story. Thank you.
Yeah, and then my brother-in-law, actually, he was impersonalist. He was not actually a devotee. But still he's so influenced by that incident, by that his presence in his house, that still today, like, he respects, no, like he speaks with a lot of respect. When he talks about him, he speaks with a lot of respect. Mm. So such is the mercy of Guru Maharaj that he, being impersonal, he didn't accept, he didn't mind accepting his hospitality in this place, and just for the benefit of ISKCON, in the sense that if he gets something good at a cheaper price, it will be ISKCON's money which is saved, it's Prabhupada's money which is saved.
Yeah. Wonderful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Oh, Prakyat, I see you have your hand up. Please speak. You have to unmute yourself. Hmm. Can someone tell him how to unmute himself?
Who's Avaduta, Nitai?
No, Prakyat Bhardraj in Pune, young fellow, very sweet devotee.
Let me see if I can unmute him from here. He is not unmuting.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, it was
This very sweet devotee is based in Pune. Tell us how old you are.
now Maharaj, I am 14.
How much?
14.
14.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Maharaj, it was an error that host is not allowed the participants to unmute. That I told Vinod Vihari to unmute me, then he unmuted. Maharaj, I need to tell that His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj was a nice devotee and a very nice sannyasi. As we can see, he was also the spiritual guru of Surya Prabhu, and his qualities and Surya Prabhu qualities are similarly matching. And we can see the picture behind you with the Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. And Maharaj, thank you for your nice lecture or talk on his uh, qualities and his life to Hare Krishna movement. And thank you, Maharaj.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for that. Suradas,
Yes.
do you want to say something? He mentioned you. You have to rise to the occasion.
I can share something.
Yeah.
I'll bring this chair.
So yes, Suradas, he received a first initiation from His Holiness Bhakti True Swami Maharaj and traveled with him a lot as his personal servant and secretary. Then he took second initiation from me, and he spends a lot of time with me now. Bring that forward so there's more light on you.
Mama Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Through the mercy of my parents, I was exposed to Bhakti Charu Swami from a very young age, almost from my birth. So growing up, I had a lot of his care and affection in my life. But when I went to high school, you could say, I saw that most of the Bengalis in my school, I come from a Bengali background, they were all Muslim. So I used to feel left out in terms of why is it that I'm the only Hindu Bengali amongst my Bengali peers? So I kind of found myself in a, could say, little identity crisis. So on Fridays, I'd go to the mosque with my Bengali peers. And then on Sundays, I'd go to the Bhaktivedanta manor. So I was doing this for some time, and I was considering that maybe, because the majority of Bengalis, they're Muslim, maybe that's the right path to go down. I'm not sure. So my mother took me to a retreat in Malaga that he had held in 2010, the summer retreat. So one evening we were taking prasad, and His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he walked up to my mother and he asked my mother, he said, "Oh, my name was Saurav before I got initiated." And I was only 15 at this time. He said, "Oh, is it possible that I could speak to Saurav?" And my mother looked at me and looked at him. He said, "Guru Maharaj, you'll have to ask him if it's okay." So Guru Maharaj, he turned to me and he said, "Is it okay if you come to my room after you finish prasad with your mother? I'd like to speak to you. It's been such a long time since we've spoken properly." So anyway, I finished my prasadam. I went to Guru Maharaj's room. We had quite a lengthy conversation, probably about an hour or so. And I expressed to him that, I'm thinking of this possibility of me following Islam because most of the Bengalis are Muslim. And the first thing he said to me was, "If you think that being Bengali or being brown-skinned will last with you once you die, you are highly mistaken. We have everything in our philosophy. Why don't you study that first, and then you can make a decision?" Then he gave me his telephone number and his email address. And he said, "Make sure that every month you keep in touch with me." So I was keeping in touch with him every month, almost like a sadhana sheet. Actually, from that day, he also asked me if I could start chanting regularly. So I said, yes, I can start chanting regularly. At that time, I wasn't chanting at all. And then he asked me, "How many rounds will you chant?" And I don't know, but something inside of me, I just said 16 straight away. So then since that day, I was chanting 16 rounds. I started from that day. And then he also encouraged me to follow the 4 regulative principles very strictly. So anyway, so every month I would give him a report almost. And this was in July. So then September of the same year, it was his Vyas Puja. And I'd never called him before. He gave me his number, but I had never called him. So I thought that it's his birthday. Why not give him a call and just say happy birthday? So I called him, but he didn't pick up the phone because it's Vyas Puja, is very busy. And then after 10 minutes, I received a call back, and it was Guru Maharaj. And the way he would just say Hare Krishna was so sweet. He said, "Hare Krishna, Saurav, thank you for calling. What would you like to say?" And I was saying, "Oh, Guru Maharaj, I just called to say happy birthday." At that time, I didn't really understand the significance of Vyas Puja much. So he said, "Thank you." Then he asked me again, "Is there anything else you'd like to say?" And I said to him that, oh, Guru Maharaj, I'm following, I'm chanting my rounds that I promised I'd chant, and I'm following the principles, but I still find it very difficult to keep enthused in school when, I'm talking with different people every day at school. They're of different faiths. Sometimes we clash. So it's hard to stay enthused. And then he gave me his, I guess, second instruction. He said, whenever you feel like that, you should open the Bhagavad Gita to a random page, and whatever verse it lands on at that moment, that's your instruction for the day. You can meditate on that and find your strength. So in this way, he was teaching me slowly how to have faith in Krishna. Then after that, he said, well, anyway, I've spoken with your mother, and I've planned that from January the following year, you will come and spend some time with me. So the months went by and January came, and I'd never traveled alone before. So, and I didn't know how long I was going for. I thought, it's just school holidays. I'll just go maybe for 2 weeks or something. So I flew first to Delhi, and I spent one night at the Radhaparthasarthi temple in the ashram. We have a godbrother there, Bhubaneswar Prabhu, who looks after the Tulsi gardens. So the first night I was there, and I didn't have a phone or anything. So I used Bhubaneswar Prabhu's phone to call my mother, because I was feeling like, oh, am I doing the right thing? I'm alone. I don't know anything. I've never stayed in an ashram before. So I went for one night only, and she kind of settled my nerves. Then the next day, Bhubaneswar Prabhu took me to Ujjain. And Guru Maharaj, he had told me to come for a specific date, but he was not there. So one day goes by, 2 days goes by, a week goes by, he's still not there. And at that time, Bhakti Prem Swami was Ganganarayan Prabhu. So every day I'd go to him. I say, is Guru Maharaj not coming? He told me to come by a certain date. I'm here. Where is he? And he was saying, yes, he's coming. Don't worry, he'll come. Anyway, 2 weeks went by, and I was staying in the ashram in Ujjain. And at that time, it was the same amount of floors as the ashram is now, but it was just one whole room, the floor that I was staying, the first floor. And in that room, there was at least 80 brahmacharis in that whole room. And I'd never shared my space with so many people before. So I was learning how to tolerate sharing my space. So anyway, after 2 weeks came, Bhakti Prem Maharaj came to me and he said, oh, Guru Maharaj is coming. He's coming to Ujjain tomorrow. So then I became very excited. And then the next day came, and the way that they decorate the temple every time he'd arrive in Ujjain was so beautiful. They'd have beds of flower petals from the gate all the way to the deities, all the way up until his quarters. And then devotees would stand on either side, they'll shower flowers over him. And I saw that there were so many devotees waiting to welcome him. So I ended up at the back. When I ended up at the back, I was thinking, oh, will he remember that I'm here, that he asked for me to come? So then anyway, he walked, then they bathed his feet. He took darshan of the deities. And then usually after taking darshan of the deities, he'd address the devotees in the temple room. And the temple room was packed. There was hundreds of devotees. And I was all the way at the back. So he addressed the devotees. And then as he's walking out, he stopped. And then a devotee on the microphone announced my name. He's saying, "Is Saurav here? Can he come to the front?" So, so then I tried to wiggle my way through the devotees, and I got to the front. And Guru Maharaj, he said, "Oh, why are you standing at the back? You are my guest. I'm so sorry that I came late. Please come with me to my quarters. We can take prasad together if you'd like." So then we went up, and the temple room and the brahmachari ashram is connected by a bridge. So every time Guru Maharaj would arrive, he'd stand on the bridge, and all the garlands that he'd receive, he'd throw at the devotees. So he did that for about 10 minutes, and I was helping him taking the garlands off. He's throwing the garlands. And then we went upstairs. And my senior godbrothers, whilst taking prasad, they were serving me so nicely. Before I'd finish one item, they'd make sure I had that item on my plate. And Guru Maharaj, he was looking at my plate and saying, give him this item. So in this way, he was teaching me how to serve. So then, whilst taking prasad, he apologized again, saying, "I'm so sorry that you had to wait. Actually, I had some urgent meetings, so I was delayed. But would you like to travel with me?" And straight away, I didn't even have to think about it. I just said, "Yes, Guru Maharaj, I would love to travel with you." So, I mean, I didn't know how long I was planning to travel with him. But it ended up being 4 years from the minute I said yes to the minute of, not traveling with him again. So anyway, 5 months went by, and we had traveled to Mayapur. We had gone to Bombay and London, and we were on our way to America. So in America, we had toured for about a month and a half, and it was coming to the end of our trip. So he was giving initiations in New Jersey on the last day of the American trip. And a week prior to that, we had gone to Denver, and we stayed at Rati Manjari Mataji's place, and Gurudas Prabhu. So one day he approached me at their house, and he said, Saurav, I've been thinking that maybe you should take your initiation on the last day of our trip. And I was very hesitant. I was saying, Guru Maharaj, I'm still very young. I'm not sure if I'll be able to follow everything properly. So maybe I can just continue the way I am, and then when I'm ready, I can just, I can approach you for initiation. And his response was very sweet. He said that it is just a matter of formality. You are already my disciple. So that gave me some confidence, some clarity. So I agreed. And then from the next day, I started to get these boils on my head, and very painful, to a point where there was pus that was dripping down my face. So with us, Sweta Manjari Mataji and Sudama Prabhu, they used to live in Orange County, also disciples of Maharaj. They were traveling with us. So Sweta Manjari, she decided to apply some paste made of haldi and different items to my boils, and she'd bandage my head up every day just to try and cool them down. So one evening she bandaged my head up, and it was time for me to serve prasad to Guru Maharaj. So I went in front of him, and he started laughing, seeing my condition. He said, "What happened to you? You look like a zombie." I had all these bandages all over my head. And I explained that, oh, Guru Maharaj, I have all these boils and they're really painful, you know, and the pus is dripping down my face. I feel like from the minute I said yes to taking initiation, now somehow all my karma is burning. I really felt like that. So then he said, don't worry, you don't have to serve me prasad. You go and take rest. So anyway, I was taking rest. And then the next day he called for me and he said, oh, you know, I feel I'm sorry that I laughed at you. You must be in so much pain with all the boils on your head. So he called for Shweta Manjari Mataji and he asked her to get him the paste that she'd been applying. And he told me to take a seat facing him. He was sitting on a chair. And for about 40 to 45 minutes, he was so lovingly applying the paste on my head. And then he bandaged me up and he said, tomorrow morning, when you wake up, you'll see that your boils are gone. So then, anyway, the next day came, I got ready, and I, you know, every morning I take off the bandages, and I saw that my boils had dried up. And I mean, I I was thinking that I don't know if I can actually attend the initiation ceremony in this state, because, you know, there's blood dripping down my face, the pus was so painful. I was finding it hard to sleep, finding it hard to even just stay awake. It was very painful. So my boils cleared up, and then, yeah. Then we went to New Jersey, where I took my initiation. On my initiation day also, I was still quite hesitant, you know. I just had turned 16, and I was just not sure if I'd be able to keep to my vows and chant the rounds. But he gave me confidence. And after my initiation in New Jersey, actually at the time of initiation, he gave me the name Sura, but I didn't know the meaning, and he didn't explain, as my initiation was at 8 p.m. So the whole day he made us fast, and 8 p.m. was my initiation. And then there was a yagya that he conducted himself. So he didn't really explain the name due to time. So after my initiation, I went upstairs. At that time, we were staying in the New Jersey temple. There was a few rooms upstairs. And I went to him, I said, Guru Maharaj, what does this mean? He said, now it means you have to stop being a demon. You have to stop being an asura. Your name means servants of the demigods who are servants of Krishna. So then the next day we flew to London, and as soon as we arrived, we would stay at Priti Mataji's house. She just got initiated recently, I think, by Shivram Swami. I'm not sure of her initiated name. But Shruti Dharma Prabhu and Pranabandhu were there, and they sat for prasadam, and I was going to serve. And Guru Maharaj said that, oh, you have also traveled with me such a long way. Why don't you sit and take prasad? So I sat, and as I'm about to touch my prasad, he looks at me and he says, have you showered? I said, Guru Maharaj, no, I haven't showered. Actually, I was going to stay at home because my parents are in the UK and they hadn't seen me for some time. So they wanted me to stay at home. So I didn't know where to shower at her house. So then he looked at me and said, whenever you come back from traveling, you must always shower before honoring prasad. You must remember to be clean all the time. He said, today it's okay, but going forward, please remember this point. So I took prasad, then I went home. After a few days, we were going to Germany. And at Heathrow Airport, I was waiting for Guru Maharaj to arrive. And anyone that's traveled with him would know that he'd come maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours just before the flight. He'd just check in and then he'd go through it. It was a quick process. He didn't want to wait around so long. But I had arrived 3, maybe 4 hours before the flight, just being anxious. And I could see that time was running out. So I checked in my bags before he had arrived. So when he arrived and he went to the check-in counter, he asked me where my bags are. And I said, "Oh, Guru Maharaj, I checked them in." And in front of the check-in lady, I don't know what happened, but he's like, "You're such a fool. You're such an idiot. Now when I get to Germany, I'm going to have to wait for you. I have priority check-in. You could have checked in your bags with me, and then we could have got them together and we could have just gone." So, and the check-in lady was looking at me and she was feeling really sorry for me. I mean, for about 5 minutes, he was chastising me. I didn't know what to say, so I just kept quiet. So anyway, we checked in the bags. And then whilst walking through Heathrow Airport, I just asked him this question: "Oh, Guru Maharaj, why is it that we're going to Germany?" But the reason for me asking this question was, growing up in history, we studied about the World War and about Hitler and, Churchill. And also when it came to football, England and Germany were not the best of friends. So I always had this concept of Germany in my mind as not such a nice place. So in that way, I asked him, "Guru Maharaj, why is it that we're going to Germany?" And he looked at me and he said, "You keep quiet and you follow your spiritual master wherever he goes. You don't ask any questions." So then I kept quiet. I just followed him quietly. When we arrived in Germany, and Ramananda Rai Prabhu from Belgium, he had met us at Frankfurt Airport. He also joined us in traveling. And then there was one other devotee, Stavaraj Krishna and Krishna Arjun. Stavaraj Krishna took initiation with me in New Jersey. He had also flown and met us in Germany. And Krishna Arjun Prabhu, the son of Udayananda Prabhu, who had also taken initiation from Maharaj that same year. So we all met at the airport. And whilst walking through the airport, the Bayern Munich first team, it's a football team in Germany, they walked past. And Ramananda Rai Prabhu, who's quite a senior devotee, he was taking pictures of the footballers because he's a big football fan. So I'm walking behind Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj stops and he says, "Where's Ramananda?" I said, "Oh, Guru Maharaj, I was trying to explain to him about, the Bayern Munich first team, the football team, and how he's taking pictures of the players because he's really into football." And Guru Maharaj is saying that I'm his spiritual master. He should be following me. He should be treating me like I'm famous. Why is he running after them? So he said, "Go and call Ramananda." I ran to Ramananda Prabhu. I said, "Guru Maharaj is calling you. You have to come now. You have no option. You can't take any more pictures. Please come now." So anyway, he ran with me and we continued. And then in Frankfurt, we were staying, I think maybe it was 3 or 4 hours away from the airport. There's a very small preaching center. And there, one of Maharaj's god sisters, Dina Sharan Mataji, she stays there. So we had landed quite late, and by the time we arrived at the preaching center, it was very late. It was maybe 11:30 p.m. So Guru Maharaj decided that he'd cook dinner that evening. As he said, I can cook quickly, so I'll just make a few items quickly. You and Ramananda, you set the table next door. So the preaching center is such that the facilities are quite scarce. So the kitchen was like a small box room, and just they had fitted a kitchen, and next door was a dining area. So me and Ramananda Prabhu were setting the table, and then we see in the corner of the dining room that there's this cabinet. And in the cabinet, there's all these, there's these vases, trays, ceramic items. So Ramananda Prabhu, he sees this blue tray in the cabinet. And he says, oh, Sura, I think it would be a good idea if we serve Guru Maharaj Prasad on the tray. I said, yes, Prabhu, that's a good idea. You're more senior. You've spent more time with Guru Maharaj. You know better. So I'll follow your lead. So he said, okay, no problem. I'll just hold the cabinet and you just have to pull the tray. So I went and I pulled the tray and the whole cabinet smashed. Every single piece that was in the cabinet had smashed onto the floor. And the floor was tiled, so it made such a loud bang. And I was standing there just with this tray in my hand, and I was looking down. And Guru Maharaj just ran into the room. And seeing this scene, he started to chastise me. He's saying that, you're such a liability. I can't take you anywhere. You're not aware of your surroundings. I feel ashamed to call you my disciple. You're like a monkey. You can't stay still. You keep jumping from one place to another. For about 10-15 minutes, he was just shouting at me. I was standing with this tray looking down. I couldn't look at him. And Dina Sharan Mataji, she obviously heard him shouting. So she came into the room and she added more fuel to the fire. She was like, oh no, so-and-so item was gifted to me by Radhanath Swami. So-and-so item was gifted to me by Sachinandan Maharaj. And she just went on like this for 5 minutes. And she was saying that how these items are irreplaceable. So many of her dear God family gave her such gifts. And hearing this, Guru Maharaj started to chastise me even more, to such a point where I started to look at Ramananda Prabhu for help, because it was his idea initially. And then as soon as I turned my face to Ramananda, Guru Maharaj said, why are you looking at Ramananda? I'm your spiritual master. You should be looking at me when I chastise you. So then I look up, I'm holding this tray still, and Guru Maharaj, he said, who told you to look at me? Look back down. You have no qualification to look at me. So then I looked down again. I said, I thought I told you to look at me. So again, I look up. I said, actually, I don't want to see your face. You go back to your room. So then I left. I didn't even have dinner that evening. I didn't serve him prasad. I just sat on my bed. And I was thinking that, oh, maybe I should tell him after the Europe trip that I'll go home, because I don't want to be a liability. Also, our relationship before I took initiation was very friendly and very different. All of a sudden, I take an initiation and he's just very heavy with me all the time. So I was thinking that, maybe there's something wrong with him. I'm not sure. I'd never experienced anything like it before. So anyway, I fell asleep. And then the next morning came, and the facilities were such in the preaching center that I was staying opposite to Guru Maharaj, and on the right-hand side was the bathroom that me and him were sharing. So in the morning, I get up and I'm walking out my room. I needed to use the bathroom. And it just so happened that Guru Maharaj was also coming out of his room at that time. And he stood in his doorway and he looked at me and he turned back around and he slammed the door in my face. So my urge to go to the bathroom just left me suddenly, and I went back to my room. And I was seriously contemplating that, oh, maybe I should, I should go home. I should leave. I've caused him so much stress, so much anxiety. So like this, a week passed, and I was doing all different types of services. I'd give him his massages, iron his cloth, maybe some correspondence if there was a need, serving prasad. He also actually went to that center because he was giving initiations to a few devotees. And he gave the initiation talk in German. I didn't know that he could speak German so fluently. And when the disciples would come and say their vows in German, he'd correct their grammar. He'd say that, no, this word should be like this. He's very particular. So during that ceremony, I was handing him the beads, and he wouldn't look at me. He just grabbed the beads like this, but really forcefully, as if to, show me that he's still angry with me. So anyway, a week like this went. He didn't utter a single word. And I don't know if Hemagori Mataji and Vinod Prabhu remember, but we had come to your house that summer, and Shamlal Prabhu had come from South Africa, and it was just us few devotees, Krishna Arjun, Ramananda Rai Prabhu, myself, and Stavaraj Prabhu from America.
Yes, yes.
And it was my birthday, my 17th birthday. And I woke up and I was thinking, please, Krishna, somehow just allow us to communicate today. So I can just tell him that after the Europe trip, I'll go home. I don't want to cause any disturbance. So anyway, the whole day went by. And your son, Rahul, I think early afternoon, he came to me and he said, oh, Guru Maharaj is asking for us to go and get ice cream. And that kind of, for me, I became a little upset because I was like, if Guru Maharaj wants us to get ice cream, he could have told me himself. Why does he have to tell someone else to then tell me to go and get ice cream? So, so I was expressing this to Rahul, and Rahul was like, don't worry, let's just go, let's get ice cream. So anyway, we went and got ice cream, and Guru Maharaj called him, and he said that, oh, you can come back home now. So I'm not sure if he had made the prasad that evening or Hemagori Mataji had made prasad, but as soon as we walked in, from what I remember, as soon as you walk into the doors of the house, you can see the kitchen area, if I'm not mistaken. So we walked in, and then I just saw there's all this prasad on the table and a cake. And I started crying. And Guru Maharaj is looking at me saying, don't cry, come here, come here. I couldn't stop crying. I was almost like panting, like I couldn't breathe. So then after a few minutes, I went to Guru Maharaj and he said, I tried to cut the cake. I couldn't, my hand was shaking. So he held my hand and cut the cake, fed me a piece of cake. And he said, after you take prasad, I'd like to speak with you. So that evening I sat with Shamlal Prabhu on the balcony and I took prasadam. And Shamlal Prabhu and me were really close. He had always shown a lot of affection towards me. He was telling me how much Guru Maharaj loves me. So in response, I explained the whole situation to him that, Prabhu, no, I don't think so. I did this. I smashed all of Dinasharan Mataji's items, and he's been telling me off. He hasn't been speaking to me for a week. I'm feeling like I should tell him that I'll go home after this Europe tour because I committed to the European leg of these travels. After that, I'll go home. And he was like, no, you shouldn't think like that. Prabhupada chastised us a lot, but we never left his side. So you can't leave your Guru Maharaj's side. You just finish your prasad and you go and see what he has to say. So I finished my prasad and I went to Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj the first thing he said was, "So what did you learn?" And I had in my mind, it was just ringing everything that he had called me and said to me. You know, I'm a liability, I'm like a monkey, I'm not qualified to be his disciple. You know, I should just go home. So I just repeated everything that he had said to me. And he was patiently listening. And then he said, "No, what I'm trying to teach you is to be aware of your surroundings. Many devotees would like to be in your position of serving me, but you have this opportunity. So please be attentive in the service to Guru. You can't just go and turn up to somewhere not knowing the situation, not knowing what's around you, and start touching things. You don't know how valuable items are to people." So then after he finished talking, I asked him, "So Guru Maharaj, I shouldn't go home? I'm thinking maybe I should still go home." He's like, "No. Sometimes the father has to chastise the son, but they never end their relationship. They just continue. And hopefully the son can learn. So we should continue." So anyway, we continued. And from Malaga, we had gone to Italy for the Pandavasena trip. Yeah. Should I continue?
Yeah, it'll be nice. I mean, we would like to see if you finish the story. It's very interesting.
So from Malaga, we had gone to Italy for the Pandavasena trip. And I think it was after a very long time that Guru Maharaj and Sachinandan Maharaj had actually spent a good amount of time together. Sachinandan Maharaj also came for the trip. So one afternoon, the schedule was quite busy that trip, but one afternoon they found some time to take prasad together. So me and Jay Krishna, who is now Gaur Krishna, who travels with Sachinandan Maharaj, we were serving prasad together. And I was serving rice to Sachinandan Maharaj. And a little bit of rice got stuck onto the handle of the spoon, the serving spoon. And whilst I went to serve Sachinandan Maharaj the rice that was stuck on the handle fell, but it fell away from Maharaj's plate. And Guru Maharaj noticed this, and he looked at me. He didn't say anything. He just pointed at the door to tell me to get out of the room. So then I left the room. I just sat outside. And then after they had taken prasad, Guru Maharaj, he walked up to me, very, very displeased. He said, "Could you please come to my room?" So I said, "Yes, Guru Maharaj, okay." So I was thinking, what now? You know, like, what did I do now? So I'm in his room, and he's so he calls me to his room. I follow him to the room, and in my head I'm thinking, what did I do wrong now? You know, I've already been chastised so much already. Now what? So I sat and looked at me, and he said, "You are such an embarrassment in front of my god brothers. You don't even know how to serve simple rice. You're serving rice and it's falling off Maharaj's plate." So like this, he was chastising me. And then, I don't know, at that age, I still have a lot of ego. I have more ego then, I guess. I just stopped him from speaking, and I said, "Guru Maharaj, where are you going next?" And I was feeling really overwhelmed by all the chastisements I'd been receiving. He said, I'm going to Radhadesh. This year in Radhadesh, we'll hold a retreat for the disciples. So I said, Guru Maharaj, I'm not coming with you. You can go to Radhadesh alone. And then Guru Maharaj was silent. He didn't say anything. And then I don't know what came over me. I said, Guru Maharaj, also, I won't pack your bags for you. You can pack them yourself so you can go. I don't want to come with you. I feel like our relationship ever since I've taken initiation is going downhill, and I'm not sure how to handle the situation. So the next day came and it was time for him to go to Radhadesh. I didn't go. I stayed on at the Pandavasena trip. But once he had reached, some devotees, they were calling the temple that we were at. Some devotees that were in charge of the Pandavasena trip, and they're calling them saying that we're trying to serve Guru Maharaj Prasad, we're offering to wash his clothes, we're trying to give him a massage, but he doesn't want to accept any service. He just keeps talking about Suradas. So please, can he come to Radhadesh? So then the devotee approached me. I think it was Krishna Kirtan Prabhu, disciple of Kadamba Swami. He approached me and he said, oh, Sura, your Guru Maharaj is calling you. You must go. The devotees are struggling there. And I said, well, I don't have any money, so if I am to go, he's going to have to send me a ticket. So I had so much ego. He called back and he said, you know, Sura's saying that he'll come, but you have to send him a ticket. He doesn't have any money, you know, to go. I mean, I was only 17. I wasn't working or anything. So, so after 10 minutes, Krishna Kirtan comes running to me with a ticket. And he said, can you pack your bags quickly? I'll drop you to the airport. We have to leave in the next 15, 20 minutes. So I quickly packed my bags and I left. And on the way to Radhadesh, I was feeling very sad because anyone that had just carried Guru Maharaj's laptop bag alone knew how heavy it was. It was like quite a bulky bag back then. It was very heavy. And I was feeling bad that, oh, Guru Maharaj, he had to carry his bags alone. And you know, he's elderly now. How could I have, just because I got angry, sent him alone like that? So I was feeling like this on the way to Radhadesh. And as soon as I got to Radhadesh, Kanchanamcha Prabhu was waiting at the entrance of the temple. As soon as he saw me, he grabbed my hand and he just took me to Guru Maharaj. And I paid my obeisances. And Guru Maharaj, he looked at me and he said, so, how does it feel to be without me? And I looked at him and I said, Guru Maharaj, I feel so bad that I left you alone like this. You know, you're becoming old now. How could I leave you with such heavy bags all alone? And so lovingly always, he would chastise, but within a second, he'd become calm again. And he just looked at me and gave me a hug. And he said, it's okay. Sometimes the son fights with the father, but the father will always forgive. Let's just continue as we are. So these are just a few incidents I'd like to share now. Actually, one more thing, since it is the Tirobhava of Guru Maharaj. The last time I had met him, he was flying from America, D-Land to Ujjain. And it was his last visit to the UK. He had an 8-hour stopover in London. And he decided to spend that time with me. So he visited my parents' house. And he was only there for a few hours, maybe 6-7 hours. And he was very grave. And he wanted to speak to me quite urgently. So he called me upstairs to speak with me. And he was just saying to me that how this would be the last time that I would see him. And I asked Guru Maharaj, I said, Guru Maharaj, what do you mean that this will be the last time? This was in August 29th of 2019. He said, this will be the last time that we will see each other. But please, you have promised me so many things over these years. Please just follow those promises. And then he said that if you chant your rounds attentively every day, you will achieve anything you desire in this lifetime. Just always chant your rounds nicely. And I said, Guru Maharaj, but I can come with you now. I can come with you to India now. He said, no, you just follow what you've promised me. So that was the last meeting I had with him. But later on, after speaking, I'm very close with Krishna Kishore Prabhu. So after on, because whenever we speak, we always speak about our experiences of serving Guru Maharaj. Later on, I learned that Guru Maharaj did many things in his final year that he wouldn't typically do. For example, Guru Maharaj's sister Pishima, she'd always come for his Vyas Puja, and she'd always want to cook for him or render some type of service, but Guru Maharaj was always, he wouldn't allow her to do so. But the final year, he visited Bangalore, because she lives in Bangalore, to spend some time with her. And the reason he went there was because he had felt like he won't see her again. Then one day he called all the congregation members and all the brahmacharis to his quarters one by one, just before leaving for America. And he was asking the devotees, who's in your family? Is there anything I can do to help them? And one by one, he'd get a piece of, he'd give every item that he owned, he just one by one, he gave to all the devotees. And I remember Krishna Kishore Prabhu telling me that he even gave away his watch or his laptop. And Krishna Kishore asked him that, Guru Maharaj, don't you need these things? Guru Maharaj said, no, if I need them, I'll get them again. Right now, I don't need these things. Then when he was driving, because he couldn't fly to Bombay, he, before sitting in the car, he was looking at the Ujjain temple. And Bhakti Prem Swami, Krishna Nam Prabhu was the driver. Rasananda Prabhu didn't go with them, but he was there. He told Rasananda Prabhu in Bengali that Ami ar Bharat Bharshate firbo na, meaning that I won't return back to India. And in the car, he told Bhakti Prem Maharaj that, Maharaj, please promise me that you'll decorate the temple on festival days beautifully, like we always decorate the temple, and make sure that the deity worship standards don't drop. Even if the temple is struggling, you make sure that the deity standards stay the same. So anyway, like this, he went to Bombay, he came to America, And he didn't wear a mask on the flight. And it was Snan Yatra actually in New Jersey, I think. He attended the Snan Yatra festival. And he had also given a last class to the Pandavasena online on Zoom. And he had never really openly spoke about this. In private, he spoke with a few of us, but he openly spoke about the poison theory and how devotees would, not devotees, but people would accuse him of poisoning Srila Prabhupada. But he spoke openly about that online at a class. Then when he arrived in D-Land, our godbrother, Indriyesh Prabhu, who is there, he told me that a few days before Guru Maharaj went to the hospital, Guru Maharaj asked for him to bring a table and a chair into his room and place the table and chair on top of Guru Maharaj's study table, facing towards him. So Indriyesh Prabhu was confused.
On top of what?
On top of Guru Maharaj's table, he asked Indriyesh Prabhu to put another table and a chair facing towards where Maharaj was sitting.
Oh.
And Indriyesh Prabhu was confused. So anyway, he followed the orders, and then Guru Maharaj told him to get out. I don't know if some of you have been to D-Land, but you can see a part of his room is glass, so you can see through. And Indriyesh Prabhu saw Guru Maharaj talking and waving his hands for about an hour and a half at this table and chair. And then from that moment, Guru Maharaj was different. He would say that usually Guru Maharaj, when he'd come to the temple, he'd stand at the front. Usually he'd always chastise us or correct us if we had done anything wrong. But all those things had stopped. He'd stand at the back of the temple during darshan, and he'd just look at the devotees. He'd stop chastising everyone. It seemed like he was in a different place. And then he decided to go to the hospital. But with him, he took a few items. He took Vrindavan Das, Bhagavad Gita, 11th canto of Bhagavatam. And then on this auspicious day, he left. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Thanks to Prakat for suggesting it, giving the hint. Shri Bhakti True Swami Maharaj ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakti Vrinda ki jai.
Thank you so much, Sri Prabhu. It was so touching to hear all those pastimes, such intimate pastimes you had with Maharaj. We also miss Maharaj because he used to come and stay. I mean, it's been many years that Guru Maharaj has not come to Malaga, Spain. And it is Bhakti Charu Swami, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami, who has been guiding us, personal guiding, and giving us his personal association, and giving us the opportunity to serve him in this house. And this point about you, when you mentioned about that, that you felt bad that you had left Maharaj to carry the luggage, and he was getting elderly, and he had to go to Radhadesh on his own. The same point came to me when I had traveled with Guru Maharaj 2 years back, when I was traveling from Houston to Santa Barbara. And I was telling the devotees that Guru Maharaj should not travel anymore alone. He has to always travel now with a servant. And you're doing such a wonderful service. You're constantly serving Guru Maharaj here, and you're traveling with him. So thank you so much, Surya Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Bhakti.
As Surya Prabhu was also in Pune, that he also used to chastise me all the time. He's also a nice devotee, Surya Prabhu. Did many sevas to Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, and now he's serving His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj. As we can see, when he came to Pune, I lived with him. I talked with him for some half hour around privately. So Surya Prabhu was behaving or as a Krishna's mercy, don't know what I feel that in Pune that Maharaj, Swarup Damodar Prabhu, Surya Prabhu and Giri Govardhan Prabhu, means Surya Prabhu and Giri Govardhan Prabhu more than Swarup Damodar Prabhu, they are like my real brothers. Also, I miss them. I used to call them every night. If you see our group chat on WhatsApp, I call him every night. He takes or he doesn't, I call him every night. We used to talk about Maharaj's health. He's cooking for Maharaj, he's doing any seva service, he's driving. So thank you, Surya Prabhu, for this wonderful talk, for your journey with His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. As you told that Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj gave you the initiation at the age of 16, I want to ask that His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj, did you give me initiation at the age of 16?
So you're 14 now, so in 2 years. It's possible. I mean, I want to follow in the footsteps of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, so it's possible. And everyone will be there. Surya Prabhu, Swarup Damodar Prabhu.
Giri Govardhan.
Yes, Giri Govardhan also.
Maharaj, if it is possible, I try my best to get when you and Swarup Prabhu talked that I think when you came that day, he told that Prakhat chanting is now so good from 1 to 6 he began. After that, Maharaj, from that day, I thought that I want initiation because before you, His Holiness Bhakti Samvit Maharaj came. I asked Maharaj also for initiation. Maharaj told me that I am not giving now and I can't give because my spiritual master is His Holiness Raghunath Maharaj, so not now. So I approached you. So I think if you can, that you said it's possible. If it is, may we try our best to get the initiation after 2 years of 2026. If we can.
I'm open to the idea.
Thank you, Maharaj. Because what I told that Charu Prabhu told you that day that this chanting is begin to 6 round. After that, when I got to know that you are also giving initiations. When I got to know from Charu Prabhu that you give initiation and second initiation, From that day, I thought I have to do 16 rounds. I have to follow 4 regulative principles. From that day, I am following and follow. So Maharaj, I told you about.
Are you chanting 16 rounds?
Yeah.
Wow, good for you. Chanting
So
16 rounds, following the 4 regulated principles. Good for you.
after a year, I think after it being 3, 6 or 7 months, we came to Pune. From that day, I decided, and now I'm telling you that if it is possible.
Wonderful, beautiful. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sir.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Thank you for your nice talk.
Yes.
It was a powerful talk also and a laughful talk also. It's a mixture like a movie, film.
Hare Krishna. So, my dear devotees, would anyone else like to ask any questions or share any reflections? Vinod, Vihari, your hand is up.
Yes. Yes, Maharaj. No, I mean, yeah, it was wonderful what we heard about from Surya Prabhu. I mean, so
Yeah.
many things that we never knew about them, and now we got to hear them. But there's
Yeah.
something like intriguing also, something like a questioning, and maybe you can clarify. Is it to be understood from this, what he said from 2019, that when he started saying that it was his last trip and that he would never come back? So does it mean that a Vaishnava decides when he wants to leave the planet? And he's like, not only that he's aware of it that he's going to go, but he decides that he's going to go.
Well, I don't know if he decided, but he was definitely aware that he was going to go. He had an intuition that Srila Prabhupada was going to call him, and his intuition was right. And Srila Prabhupada did call him, and now he's with Srila Prabhupada.
I mean, the very fact that he started distributing his personal objects, like how you were saying, much in advance, and in the sense that we're talking of 2019 and he passed in 2020. So it's quite a number, it's quite a long time. And then it also, we heard about in his Vyasa Puja offering to Srila Prabhupada in 2012. And he had written saying that he has finished his duties.
Yeah.
And yeah, so something like what Prabhupada had entrusted to him regarding the translations and all those things, that he had finished, and now he was prepared. That whenever Prabhupada wanted, he would go. So that was way back in 2012.
Yeah, I remember that offering.
Okay, so thank you very much, Maharaj.
Right. And Magori's hand is up.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance and wishes. Guru Maharaj, when Charu Prabhu described that in Dilan, Maharaj had asked him to put a chair in front of him, and a table. Do you think Maharaj was talking to Prabhupada at that time?
Sarah, are you here? Do you think he was talking to Prabhupada?
Well, Indriyash Prabhu described that for a good amount of time, at least an hour, he was just talking and waving his hands as if he was talking to somebody. So,
I mean, do you think he was telling Prabhupada that, okay, it's time for me to go, come to you, or I have finished all my obligations or something like that?
Maybe, I don't know, but I just sent you a video. This is a small clip 3 days before he left Ujjain, and it's in his quarters, and he's explaining how the situation will come where he'll be alone and if he'll be able to remember Krishna at the time of passing. And then he says that these times are coming and they're going to make us stronger. So I don't know if you can play the video on the call so the devotees can see. I just sent it to your WhatsApp.
To me or to?
Yeah, to you.
Okay, I'll share it with my husband. But it's quite amazing because precisely he had a lot of, it was COVID time and everybody was at home. So he used to have everyday sessions for the devotees all over the world. And he used to talk about how to serve spiritual master in separation. It's like he was preparing the devotees already. They were amazing sessions. He had every day from Ujjain, and he would come on a Zoom conference every day for quite a number of days before he left for Bombay.
Yeah, he was giving those sessions on Uddhav Gita.
Vinod, Vihari, I've just shared with you.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm not getting it because in the WhatsApp, and I don't have the WhatsApp in the computer.
Oh, shall I send it to you by
maybe email or something?
By email?
Yeah.
Is it a long video? It's 2 minutes video only, no? Maybe I can play it. Oh no, how will I play? Well, we'll add it on the for the devotees later on, maybe.
Yeah.
On Facebook, we'll share it.
Nice to see it now. Is there a way we can do it?
Okay, I'll send it to him on. I'm sending him on the.
So I made you a co-host also. If you want, you can directly do from there.
Okay, let's try.
Vinod Vihari, I'll send you by email. Maybe you can share your screen.
You have your WhatsApp? Huh? Your WhatsApp? I sent you the video.
The problem in viewing the video, it says it cannot be opened.
Huh?
It says it cannot be opened. There's a problem in viewing it.
Okay.
Now,
Can you see this?
No sound.
Can you see the screen, Prabhu? Oh.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
But there's no sound there.
Now also we won't be able to remember Krishna, meaning like others will not remind us of Krishna. So we have to depend upon Krishna ourselves. We
Coming
have
low.
to pray to Krishna with all our hearts that Krishna, please, please don't allow me to forget you.
Sound is very
Please
low.
let me remember you at the most difficult time when I'm going to leave my body. And now the situation is as such that I am become bereft of association of your devotees. You have mentioned the association of devotees is the spiritual sky. Association of devotees is your internal potency. So now I have become unable to have that association. So please let me remember you on my own, and I depend upon you. Please don't allow me to forget you. Please, this is my only prayer. So these difficulties are coming to make us more Krishna conscious. These difficulties are coming to remind us that.
Sorry, the sound quality was not good. I don't know.
Did you hear anything there?
I heard it.
So this was in New Jersey, the last.
This was in Ujjain. This was 3 days before leaving Ujjain. It was after the class that he gave saying that, how can I leave the devotees in D-land on their own? I am their leader. I must be there. It was after that.
Yeah, well, yeah, aware a bit about this incident. Like when he left from Ujjain, he came to Bombay driving because there were no flights at that time. And he stayed in my sister's place in Prema Manjari's house for a few days. And there he was giving a class as well. And from the class, we could see that he was already infected because he had the throat pains and he was sneezing and his nose was running. So it seems that's what, I mean, from the picture and from the conclusion that we came to. So when he was leaving already, he was like some say that in the plane or some say in New Jersey, but we assume it was already from Bombay itself or on the route from Ujjain to Bombay. But because he did stop in some place, I don't know, I'm not sure where it was, in Pune or something, and he met some disciples who had come and to meet him, and they were without mask and things like that. So it seems it could be from the contact of those disciples, from those devotees, that he got that he got that disease. No.
There's a message in the chat that he stopped in Nagpur.
Yeah.
No, it was in Nasik, Ruma.
Nasik.
Nasik. Yeah, Nasik.
Yeah, yeah.
And some lady gave him an envelope, and she was found COVID positive.
All right.
There's one message from Bhavika Khatri saying something. Did Sura Prabhuji's parents also came to you like your parents visited Srila Prabhupada? This incident where Srila Prabhupada asked you to have sandesh?
Well, I met Sir Prabhu's parents. I gave second initiation to his father. I visited their home. I don't know if that answers the question.
There's one text message, handwritten text message, I think, of Guru Maharaj, which is being shared by Nitai Prasad from Gibraltar. Must be his wife, Tulasi Mataji, who also disciples. Is written in Bengali, and then it is translated in English, and it says, just as gold, when melted in fire, gives up its impurities and returns to its pure brilliant state, similarly, the spirit soul absorbed in the Bhakti Yoga is purified of all contamination caused by previous fruitive activities and returns to its original state of serving me in the spiritual world.
This was the last entry in his diary.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is there in the chat, you can see, I mean, anyone can open the chat and all have the possibility of opening the chat, and maybe you can even download that note of his, a handwritten note of his.
Hare Krishna. There are two more hands up.
Yeah. There's Avaduta Nitai Das. Would you can go ahead with your question? Can you open? You cannot open your mic? Let me see. What's wrong? I mean,
You can't unmute? Huh.
Hare Krishna. All praise to Shri. Purnima just wanted to share some things.
Yeah, where are you? Where are you?
I'm in Indore. I was in Ujjain today. I came back to Indore in the evening after the Tirobhava festival.
Right.
I was in the Ujjain festival today. And I was in Ujjain for around the second lockdown. This is just after Guru Maharaj has left his body. This is the second lockdown we were in Ujjain. So I was there for 5-6 months. During the first lockdown, when Guru Maharaj was there in Ujjain for 3 months, so he called all the students from various student centers around that were connected to Ujjain. And so many of our friends, so many of our devotees, they went to Ujjain, and every day, many of them used to spend like practically 24 hours with Guru Maharaj. He used to engage them in transcription services, writing his books, recording his Bengali lectures, and he used to teach them Bengali also. And practically the whole day, the devotees will be there. And uh, I mean, I was not there during that time. I went home, and in the second lockdown, I came to Ujjain. So practically every day in the evening for 2 hours, we used to have dancing kirtan of Guru Maharaj in the temple hall. This went on regularly for 5 months. 5 months every day. We used to have dancing kirtan in the evening. His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj was practically in Ujjain uh, for uh, for the whole year, and every day we used to dance in the evening. All these students, more than 100 students, and all of them had a personal contact and personal relationship with Maharaj. And every day we used to conduct glorification sessions online as well as offline, and there would be class every morning. And and uh, I used to serve in the quarters of Maharaj, and uh, uh, used to see all the articles. But they would let us touch the articles, clean the articles, and we used to see. And practically every week they would conduct glorification sessions with all the senior brahmacharis, disciple glorifying Maharaj. And this is continuing now for from 2020. Uh, every third week of month they conduct these sessions in Ujjain. And, uh, uh, yes, Maharaj. I've seen so many of our uh, students, so many of our devotees, they joined after Maharaj's departure. They joined the Brahmachari ashram, and uh, because Guru Maharaj has told them each and every one of them at some point that you should dedicate your life, this one life, to Krishna, and because they couldn't in the presence of Guru Maharaj, so they joined after his departure. So many 5, 6, 7 uh, students from our student centers, they joined, and uh, many are now uh, serving in Brahmachari ashram for over 4 years, 5 years, uh, and they are very dedicated. They are doing very dedicated services, and now today only we got to hear so many glorifications from these young students, young disciples. They describe how he has called them from there to come to Mayapur, and without any preparation, anything, they stayed went to Mayapur without any accommodation, anything. And when he asked, "Where are you living? Where are you staying?" They said, "We don't have any booking. We don't have any accommodation." So he said to them, "Yeah, you come stay with me in my quarters." So, practically 3 or 4 devotees share this, and they were all saying that he told us that you come to Mayapur, you come to Ujjain, and when the devotee actually came, then he told them, "Okay, you stay with me, uh, you take prasadam with me," and uh, uh, I have the same experience. So the Bhakti Prem Maharaj, he called me, he told me that you come to Ujjain, and just I left everything. I went to Ujjain, and I don't know where to stay and everything, what to do with prasadam. And he called for me. He told me, "Okay, you stay here as long as you want. You study here. You serve here." So I used to do a little service and then practically stay in the temple for 5 to 6 months. So I have similar experiences, and so many devotees, they are remembering him today. And I've seen, I've heard very nice offerings of devotees. And so Damodar Prabhu is in Ujjain. How it is Prema Manji Mataji, how it is Radha Padguni Mataji, they are in Ujjain. And they were sharing their offerings uh, uh, her guest Prema Manji Mata, she shared the offering that once how Maharaj was traveling to Kolkata, but he sat on another flight to Bombay, and this was without any bookings, nothing. And he just went to the checking gate without any boarding pass and sat on the flight on the seat number. And by chance, he traveled to Bombay. And she was recalling that she was praying to the Lord that may Maharaj come to Bombay. And that day itself, Maharaj got into the wrong flight and stayed came to Bombay to her house where she was sharing this and so many other pastimes. So, uh, yes, it was. We are all very fortunate. We are all very much cared and loved by his disciples. Uh, Personally, by him. I mean, I never saw his Bapu because I was at my home most of the time. But I got to serve his servants, his disciples. I mean, Surya Prabhu is practically my elder brother. He used to uh, uh, answer our questions, me and Divya Radha Prabhu. We used to ask him questions for hours and hours, and he used to answer our questions very nicely. Like him, all they are taking very nice care of us. It's genuine.
Wonderful, beautiful.
There's a hand raised by Sudama Krishnadas. Sudama?
I think you need to unmute him.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Guru Maharaj, I had a question that after Srila Prabhupada's departure, we have seen how Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj, how Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, how you all Prabhupada disciples, they practically saved ISKCON from so many difficulties. There were problems coming from so many directions. Devotees were leaving. I believe Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he also saved maybe Bhaktivedanta Manor. And for that, he was shooting Abhay Charan serial and he had to stop it. He has to use that Lakshmi there for saving that temple. So, Maharaj, I had a question that what inspires you all that you are ready to give your life for the service of Srila Prabhupada? How could you all do this thing? Bhakti Charan Maharaj, he went to America just simply for preaching, and at such a time, Maharaj. So, Maharaj, it really feels impossible for us to even try to reach that standard on which you all are. So how is it really possible, Maharaj, for a conditioned soul?
We were acting out of, faith in Srila Prabhupada and love for Srila Prabhupada. I'm reminded, just read that. So, Srila Prabhupada was speaking with one disciple and asked him what is the most, important verse in the Vedic literature. And the disciple replied, Harinam, Harinam, Harinam Kevalam, Kalona Stevana, Stevana, Stevagatir. And Srila Prabhupada replied, no. And then Prabhupada quoted the verse, Yasya Deve Para Bhaktir, Yata Deve Tata Guru, Tasyaite Katita Yartha, Prakashante Mahatmana. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. So I think that was what inspired us and motivated us, our implicit faith in and love for Srila Prabhupada. That's possible for anyone, even now. And yeah, we should, increase our attachment for Srila Prabhupada by reading his books, following his instructions, serving his devotees, watching the DVDs. Yadubara Prabhu has compiled one series called Following Srila Prabhupada. And somehow or other increase our attachment for Srila Prabhupada. So many wonderful books about Srila Prabhupada written by his disciples. Of course, Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, His Holiness Bhakti True Swami Maharaj's book, Ocean of Mercy. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. So Indulekha Dasi's hand was raised a little while ago. I don't know if she's still with us, if she still wants to speak.
She's there in the group, but her hand is no more raised.
Okay. That's all right. So if there are no more questions or comments, we can end now. We can conclude with Vaishnava Pranam. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Panchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai,
Yeah.
Srila Bhakti True Swami Maharaj Ki Jai, Srila Sanatana Goswami Ki Jai, Shri Veda Vyas Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. We are truly grateful to you, Lord Krishna, and your spiritual master's divine grace, Srila Prabhupada, that we today had the opportunity to have a wonderful evening with your presence and receive your marvelous discourse with so much of spiritual instructions that we never will be able to repay with any services we may do in thousands of our lives.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Are you ending it?
Well, I'm waiting for you.
As usual. All right. It's hard to leave your company, but on your order, I will do so. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hare
thank you.
Krishna.
Hare
This
Krishna.
Giriraj Maharaj ki